Without further ado, I will be introducing formally our esteemed speaker for the day. He is an associate professor of aviation tourism, where he also currently serves as the Institute secretary. Prior to that, he was head of the Institute's Division of Research and Extension Services. So not only has he practiced in the academy, but he has a whole slew of accomplishments of his practice in the tourism industry. In the mid-2000s, he was an international consultant for the United Nations World Tourism Organization on post-conflict and post-disaster recovery through tourism in East Timor, Sri Lanka, and North Korea. He has also served as co-organizer and research person for various projects with the Tourism Promotions Board, the Worldwide Fund for Nature and Beings, Department of Tourism Region 8 Office, and various provincial and municipal local government units. He was also the marketing consultant for the Samar Island Tourism Master Development Plan in 2011. And later, he was the chief consultant for the SIT-MDP. It's a mouthful, but I already said it earlier. He had to look into the successor plan in 2019. He also served as the ecotourism consultant for the FIBIDEC Master Plan in Visayas Oriental under Certeza Consulting Company. And in the past 6 years, he has been providing extension services for various provinces all over the country through the extension grants from UP Diliman, mainly focusing on tourism, development planning, and destination marketing. So as you can see, this is just the tip of the iceberg of our speaker's accomplishments. In 2021, he was directly involved in the conduct of destination branding workshops, whom he worked with Dr. Badilla in Region 2. He has an ongoing UPD-funded extension project in Northern Samar. Northern Samar, if you are not very familiar with it, really has so much potential. And Sir has been working on it since 2011. Such relatively vast consulting experience has enriched his teaching and research capacities. He has also authored a few textbooks and reference books under Rex Bookstore, and I have personally used them in my classes. So his most recent publications were about destination branding and tourism accreditation, for which he was awarded UP Centennial Professorial Chairholder in 2020 and now in 2023. So today he will be sharing his findings in his work entitled Destination Branding Slogans and Their Impact on Tourism Arrivals, the Case of the Philippines. Our mentor, Dr. Rio G. Cruz.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Division of Academic Affairs for arranging this lecture series. And of course, our Dean, Giovanni Legaspi, for hosting a lot of very impactful events over the year that he had been the leader of the IT. Thank you to my fellow lecturers, Dean Editors over there, of course, Dr. Badilla here, and special mention to students that came all the way from PUP, encouraged by Professor William. So thank you, Jojo, and I advise for you in March. And thank you to everyone who's here. At least I have an audience. But of course, there are a lot more on Zoom. No? So thanks to those who are spending time with me on Zoom. I think there are people from St. Benilde, from Jose Rizal University. No? Thanks, Professor Joy, for requiring your students to listen to this very simple lecture of mine. So, of course, this lecture is based on a chapter that was published in this book, which I co-authored with Joy Era of Far Eastern University way back during the pandemic time. And it was published according to the book in 2022. Okay. So if you want to know about the details like statistics, you'd better read the chapter in the book itself. Okay, so again, this presentation is of course a kind of a duty, in return for the generous reward from the university for the professorial chair. And the purpose of this presentation is, of course, just to discuss a few things about destination branding, particularly on the slogan aspect, because in the past 2 years or 2023, I think there have been quite an extensive controversy over the launch of a new campaign, Love Philippines. So we don't know whether that campaign is successful or not. But probably we will learn from the past, no? And hopefully take it from there. Okay, so this presentation aims to answer a few questions like, do destination slogans matter? What are the changes in destination slogans over the years from the side of the Philippines and other Asian countries? And how have destination slogans performed in terms of tourist arrivals? Of course, this is simplistic because there are other factors that affect tourist arrivals, not only the branding or the slogan, but several other factors that contribute to the impact. And then after that, we will be having some discussion and conclusion, followed by a Q&A. So just to make things clear, we're not going to, let's say, evaluate slogans, brands, or the logo. But for the understanding of the students who are here, other faculty members, when we say slogan, we're referring to the phrase used in a campaign. So, for example, in this brand, we have the Love the Philippines. Okay, and there are other aspects of the brand. For example, the typology or what they call the word mark, the logo, the color scheme, but we're not going to tackle those. So we'll be talking only of the phrases or catch words, or words that are used here. So, but of course, we have to look back, on what studies have been made about the topic. There are quite a few, and I'd like to cite the work of Gali et al., who studied the slogans of 150 destinations in top destinations, top 50 destinations, where the Philippines was 50. Okay, and there's also the work of Victor back in 1989, who said that the DOT slogan, "Where Asia Wears a Smile," was used to diffuse criticism of life under martial law. So it was a kind of a political statement. And of course, I'd like to cite the work of our fellow faculty from EIT, Vic Villegas, who wrote in 2017. And she said that the frequent changes in slogans with different color palettes, logos, and word lengths have made recall difficult, failing to make an impactful positioning for the Philippines. Well, we'll see later whether this position or this statement is true or not. Okay, so first the question is, do slogans matter? Well, if you look at the top 10 destinations, all of these have slogans. And that means that somehow the slogans help them create some kind of unique image, because you're competing with maybe 190 plus or to 200 other countries. And you cannot compete without a unique image. And one of the things that you do to create that image is through branding. So this is in 2022. 1 year of opening, after the pandemic. And these countries have not fully recovered yet because pre-pandemic level for France, for example, was about 90 plus million. Okay, and China was here, but after the pandemic, it's not here anymore. Okay, so there have been changes. Okay, so these are just sources of the statistics. Since we'll plot the changes in the slogans over the years of selected Asian countries. I don't know if you will be able to see this, but um, I'm starting with the year 1998 when Amazing Thailand was launched. Okay, and there had never been another campaign after that. There were some variations of Amazing Thailand campaign, but not really a drastic overhaul of it. So, as far as my reading goes, this was launched to somehow overcome the difficulties encountered by Thailand after the Asian financial crisis of 1997. Okay, then this was followed in 1999 by Malaysia Truly Asia. So again, this has been going on, until now. And then Incredible India was launched in 2002. So these three have been stable, have been there for all of these years. No changes. Maybe a few alterations, but now no overhaul. And then you have Japan Endless Discovery back in 2010, and they have been using that until now. And another country which is similar to the Philippines, which has actually changed the slogans quite a number of times, is Singapore. And in 2017, they launched Passion Made Possible. And in 2023, they have another campaign, Made in Singapore, which is the counterpart to the Love the Philippines. Okay, so as I was saying, we are not unique in changing our slogans, And one country that does that also is Singapore. So they started branding their country as a destination way back in the 1960s, Yung Instant Asia. And then this was followed by the other campaigns like Uniquely Singapore, Your Singapore, Surprising Singapore, Singapore Passion Made Possible, and just recently Made in Singapore. Okay. Now, the other brand that has been quite consistent is Amazing Thailand, but with some variation. So it has a stable tagline, but they have some slogans under it. So if you ask me the tagline and slogan, based on what I've read, the tagline is actually the more stable. It's used forever, like Nike, just do it. And then you have the slogan, which is done on a parang periodic basis, depending on the target market, depending on the circumstances. So Amazing Thailand has something like that. No? For example, it begins with the people, pare pala to, no? And then you have Amazing Thailand always amazes you. Okay? So let's talk about the Philippines now. No? Philippine destination slogans 1973 to 2023. So how old is that? 50, no? Tama ba? Over the past half century, what have been the slogans of the Philippines? Okay, we can actually talk about the brand of the Philippines prior to 1973, when there was no DOT yet. And we were known then unofficially as the Pearl of the Orient, right? But whoever coined that, I don't know, maybe it was Rizal. But it was not really tourism oriented. It was probably a country brand. Okay. So from 1973, we have had several changes. For example, from 1973 to I think 1985, there were a number of campaigns that were adopted by the DOT. One of these is the Philippines, where Asia wears a smile. Philippines, an island to remember. The Philippines, a nation reborn, a nation in motion. So many. No? That's why at the time, a lot of critics were saying that we have a fragmented marketing strategy because we don't have any focus. Okay, so 1985 was the end because in 1986 there was people power. Okay, so this is the regime of former President Cory Aquino, and they came up with Fiesta Islands. But this started in 89. From 86 to 89, there was a kind of parang hiatus, in terms of marketing. Fiesta Islands, and then it was followed by Islands Philippines, which has also certain variations, like our islands have it, Best of the Islands, Music Islands Philippines, Portuguese Islands. Okay, then this was followed by Rediscovery Philippines in 2001. Okay, this was the brainchild of former Secretary uh, Gemma Cruz Aranet. Okay. And then after that, it was Gordon's gain, no? With Wow Philippines. And Wow Philippines has certain meanings, di ba? Like warm over winter, walls, where are wares, and so many others. I think there were about 8 meanings. Okay. So after that, it was followed by the other controversial brand, which was the Pilipinas Kay Ganda, no? Which was accused of plagiarizing the Polish campaign. Okay, let's see how this appeared, no? Later on. Kasi parang, kumbaga palpak yung campaign na yan, ano? But let's see in terms of arrivals. And then, after that, it was much more fun in the Philippines, version 1, with the Balik. Later on, it will be changed or revised to have only the strands of the banig. Di ba? Nasira na yung banig. Ano na lang, mga hibla na lang. Version 2 na yun. Okay? But in between, there was the Experience of Philippines, which was launched by Secretary Tayo. And when she was asked, why did you change it? She just said that it was customary for a new Secretary of Tourism to change the logo or the brand. Okay. And then, of course, this is not really covered in our discussion, but in 2023, they launched the Love the Philippines campaign. Okay, so many changes, no? If you count how many, siguro mga 15 times siya, no? Over the course of 50 years. Okay, so let's see how these slogans affected the rival. Okay, Incredible India launched in 2002, never changed since then. So you can just do the math, no? How old these campaigns are. And from that time up to 2019, there was a 400% arrivals changed, multiplied 4 times. Okay. Why 2019? See the speed rate and 2020, 2021 were outliers, no? Parang we cannot really average them kasi it will pull down the figures too much because tourism virtually stood, virtually halted. Okay, so actual arrivals in million from 2.73 to 10.93. So gain 8.2 million arrivals. Okay, Japan Endless Discovery 2010 launch never changed, 339%. And the actual figures, no, it means that they have gained 22.5 million from the time they launched it. And then for Malaysia, 1999, 256%, 15.9 million change over that number of years. Then we did Singapore 2023, but this is quite unique. Since 1960, brand. So it's quite staggering, no? 20,989%. Kasi they started figures 91,000 na. And now they're having 19.1. No? So that is a difference of, I think this is not right. So you can just correct it, no? Sorry. Then Thailand, 464%, gain of 31.2 million arrivals. Well, so what about the Philippines? So the latest, of course, was 2019. Pero, from 1973 to the present, there have been 15 times, 15 changes. And from 1973, the impact was 3,399%, 143,000 arrivals to 8.26. But I think that there's a mix, no? This is just computed based on a per gain base. So if you divide the gain by 15, it's like you gain only 500,000 tourist arrivals per campaign. Okay, so it would look like this. You know? The general trend is, of course, an increase in arrivals, but there are dips. There are years when we didn't fare well. And if you look at the years, like okay. So in 1973 to 1985, that's 13 years, there were 4 campaigns. Okay. And over that period, the average annual growth in arrivals was 14.5%. Then from 1989 to 1992, which was a period of 4 years, they used the Fiesta Islands campaign, Fiesta Islands Philippines, and the average increase was 3.5%. And then from 1992 to 1998, they used 4 campaigns over a period of 7 years, and the average number or growth rate is 12.6%. And then in 2001, there was the Discovered Philippines, which resulted in a negative 10% arrival. But was it because of the Rediscovery Philippines? I'm not sure about that. But probably some outside or external forces like the SARS, the violence.
It's the Asian crisis also.
Asian crisis was in 1997. So some ripple
September 9.
yung 911 could also be, or maybe the major factor here, because security very tight and people were discouraged from traveling.
During the era. That's the era.
Also, in the Philippines, also there was a period of, it was a period of political turmoil. It's people power creating. And then to 2010, 8 years, Wow Philippines. This was the idea of Richard Gordon, of course, averaging 8.1% increase per year. And then in 2010, si Secretary Pangdananan took over and changed it to Tagalog or Filipino. Filipinas and this is one of the most criticized campaigns, no? But if you look at the figures, surprisingly, 17% ang increase, no? Not like this was campaign or because data was more efficiently collected, no? There could be other factors. It's more fun in the Philippines version 1, average of 8.8%. So this is one of the most highly praised slogans. Kasi it became viral, no? And it's actually for the OT Secretary Jimenez that technology was favored in because of the social media phenomenon and people thought of it in different means. For example, jacuzzi, you have people under the waterfalls and saying jacuzzi more fun in the Philippines or commuting more fun in the Philippines, something like that. So there are many, many variations of this slogan. And then let's get into 2018, actually, mga 1 year lang to. Let's say 2 years na. They changed it to experience the Philippines during the time of Africa. But this also resulted to 9.5% increase. So from 2019 to 2020, which is 2 years, it's more fun in the Philippines version 2. Ayun nga, no, yung first year, 15%, followed by negative 82% naman because of the pandemic. So, parang inconclusive, no? It's not really because of the slogan, probably, no, that caused these arrival figures, whether to so how discussion of why these things happen. Okay, so usage of brands and slogans, according to research, slogans actually have limited longevity, according to this study. So it's median age of 5 years. So from maybe 0 to 10 years, and the median is 5 years. But if we look at the presentation, there were a lot of examples that exceeded the median of 5 years, like those from India, Malaysia, Thailand, di ba? And even Japan. And 1/3 of destination management organizations use brands for 10 years or more. So only 1/3 of them, and 12% of brands lasted for only a year before being changed. So some slogans that we use actually fell in this category. Okay, so according to another set of references, success factors in branding slash slogan would be the following. One is good understanding of the destination format, because you just don't create the slogan. You have to understand what the market wants or what the market expects. Next, you should do qualitative consumer research. You don't do it on hunch. You have to base it on data. Qualitative decisions. Then, okay. Third, there should be stakeholder collaboration. Okay. Of course, stakeholder collaboration has some limitations, but it's good that stakeholders are into it from the get-go so that we can have a buy-in or they will support the brand. No? It's not like you launch something and people are surprised, no? Because you didn't consult them. Okay, then it should have a unique selling proposition. So for example, where Asia wears a smile, is that a unique selling proposition? Everybody in Thailand also smiles, diba? It's not something unique. And then strong brand equity, awareness, and familiarity is also very important. Now, the red boxes actually are reasons why the brands that we use were not very successful. One is the country's overall image. So if you ask someone who has not been to the Philippines, what that they will use is dangerous. So when I was in Korea many years ago, one of the questions they asked is it that dangerous? So the keyword is dangerous. So even if you use all these beautiful phrases, people will stop you, right? Okay. So the other reason is the message is too often it will not. It's like you, for example, if you go by this name 1 year and then you change your name another year. You know, right? So you must be using the same name forever so that people will recognize you instantly. And finally, there's the commitment to the. So I think these are uh, related. No, you have to commit to it. Because also it's like a commitment, a promise. No, and it inspires you to do everything so that what you say in the phrase will become a reality. For example, if it's more fun in the Philippines, then the DOT and all the stakeholders should make sure that when people come to the Philippines, they will have fun. No? They will ensure that people will not have anything inconvenient or they will be taken care of, and we will display our famous Filipino hospitality. Okay, so it's like commitment. Okay, then lastly, limitations of destination slogans. So one is that they may not be able to overcome external forces or events. So they are good, no? They work well during good times, but during terrible times, they may become irrelevant. For example, like there was people power. 1990 to 1991, we had a series of natural disasters, the earthquake and the eruption. So, of course, people would not come to the Philippines. It was actually originating from Asia again. And then 2009, we have the Typhoon Ondoy. Although it came late, no? But it also somewhat dampened the arrivals because it came in November ba yun? Or September, no? So this is the start of the Christmas season when a lot of balikbayan come home. Okay, so the other thing is that they cannot hold up the other variables that comprise a country's competitiveness. So you're all familiar perhaps with the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index. It changed to Travel and Tourism Development Index, I think in 2023. No? If you look at the 2021 Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, the ones who perform well, regardless of the slogans, are also very competitive. For example, Japan. To my surprise, it came out number one. They're endless discovering any of their marketing campaigns. But people go to Japan because of the very reputation of Japan as a destination. But the behavior of their people when they travel abroad, like when they visit other countries, they display this very good image of Japan. So it really projects very well on the Japanese people and, of course, to their country as a destination. Okay, number 9 is Singapore. So another strong country in terms of sustainability and competitiveness is Singapore. Thailand, Malaysia, and India are also quite high relative to the Philippines. So we're very low in terms of competitiveness. So I think before we think of these new catchphrases, we have to work on the competitiveness aspect. I think we can relate it again to another bigger thing, which is governance. So a well-governed country, no matter how happy your slogan is, probably will succeed more than a not so well-governed country with a very nice slogan. So I think that's something to ponder on, not only for us in the schools, but of course our dear politicians, who make all the policies and execute this for our country. So with that, I'd like to close my and I hope you will ask good questions also. Okay, thank you very much for listening.